Welcome back to Stoic Mentalism. Have you ever found yourself in an intimate moment where your penis didn't respond the way you expected? Trust me, you're not alone. This is a lot more common than you might think. It can feel frustrating or even embarrassing, but it's absolutely nothing to be ashamed of or stressed about. In this video, we're going to dive into practical tips to help you stay calm, maintain your confidence, and keep the connection with your partner alive. Because, let's be real, sexuality is so much more than just penetration. There are endless ways to make intimate moments meaningful and pleasurable for both of you. But before we get started, be sure to like this video. And if you're new here, hit subscribe for more insightful psychological tips on human behavior and sexuality, especially for those over 50 who want to embrace love and pleasure at every stage of life. Drop a comment saying, "I subscribed," so we can give you a warm welcome. It's important to remember that your masculinity is not defined by whether you can always maintain an erection. Think of your sex life like a car. It's made up of many parts: the engine, tires, steering wheel, and more. If one tire goes flat, does that make the entire car useless? Of course not. You fix the tire and keep driving. The same applies to your sex life. If you experience a moment where an erection doesn't happen, it doesn't mean something is wrong with you. Stress, fatigue, heavy meals, work, and family concerns can all affect performance, but none of these diminish your worth as a man. And here's a key point. Sexual satisfaction isn't limited to penetration. There are many ways to give and receive pleasure. Touches, kisses, caresses, and oral sex can be just as fulfilling for you and your partner. Here's a fact that might surprise you. Most women don't see the lack of an erection as a huge issue, as long as you stay present and connected with them. Often it's our own insecurities that turn it into a bigger deal than it actually is. What women value most is the emotional connection, intimacy, and your effort to bring pleasure in different ways. Picture this. You're at a party, and suddenly you trip. That brief moment of embarrassment might make you cringe, but if you stand up with confidence and laugh it off, it quickly becomes a funny memory rather than a source of shame. The same thing applies when an erection doesn't happen. It may seem like a big deal in the moment, but the way you handle it makes all the difference. When you notice that things aren't going as planned, the first step is to remain calm. Anxiety will only heighten the tension and make it harder for things to bounce back. Take a deep breath and release any pressure. Instead of fixating on the erection, shift your focus to fostering a comfortable, relaxed atmosphere. Keeping cool reassures both you and your partner and builds an environment of trust. Be lighthearted about it. Maybe say something playful like, "Well, looks like we're having a technical hiccup today, but there are plenty of other ways to have fun." This not only diffuses any awkwardness but also keeps things feeling natural and unforced. Take this as an opportunity to explore different avenues of intimacy. Tender touches, gentle caresses, and affectionate moments can keep the connection thriving. Humor is a powerful tool here, not necessarily cracking jokes, but maintaining a positive, easygoing attitude. How you handle these moments can transform what might feel uncomfortable into an experience that strengthens your bond, leaving both of you with fond memories. So, when an erection doesn't happen, the best approach is to stay calm, be honest, and shift your focus to savoring the moment in new ways. What truly matters is how you navigate this challenge and use it to deepen your connection with your partner. Think of it like being in the middle of an intense board game, only for your key piece to break. Instead of giving up, you adapt, finding a new piece or changing your strategy to keep the game exciting. Similarly, when an erection doesn't occur, it might feel like a setback, but there are plenty of alternative ways to ensure the pleasure and intimacy continue. One powerful option is oral sex. By using your mouth and tongue, you can provide your partner with thrilling sensations that can lead to an orgasm. Many women find oral stimulation incredibly satisfying, making it a wonderful way to keep the connection alive. The key is to explore her body with your tongue, paying attention to how she responds since every woman has her own unique desires. Begin with soft, slow touches, gently exploring different areas, and observe her reactions. There's no need to stick to a particular routine, just stay tuned in to what she enjoys. If you notice she responds positively to a specific touch or movement, focus on that area more. This allows you to create a customized, pleasurable experience for her. Additionally, using manual techniques can heighten her pleasure. Focusing on her clitoris and G-spot can lead to intense satisfaction. The clitoris, with its heightened sensitivity, can bring about powerful orgasms when stimulated properly. For the G-spot, gently use your fingers inside her vagina, exploring with a delicate touch while observing her responses. The key is to be gentle, adaptable, and responsive to what makes her feel good. In the end, it's about embracing the moment with creativity, confidence, and care. While exploring these alternative approaches, your primary goal should be to create a pleasurable and deeply connected experience. Focus on gentle touches, caresses, and nonverbal communication to ensure your partner feels fully satisfied. The key is to turn the moment into something positive, regardless of whether an erection occurs. Imagine playing a card game and realizing your hand isn't as strong as you had hoped. Instead of explaining your weak cards, you play the best game possible with what you have. In the same way, when an erection doesn't happen, it's important to stay in the moment and avoid explanations that could increase tension. It's tempting to explain with phrases like, "I'm nervous," or "This never happens to me," but these can introduce unnecessary discomfort and anxiety for both you and your partner. Instead, focus on the pleasure you can still share. Shifting the attention to other forms of intimacy creates a more relaxed atmosphere and shows your partner that you're fully present and ready to enjoy the experience together. If you feel the need to say something, keep it light and positive. A simple, "Let's try something different and see what we can enjoy together," helps to redirect attention away from the erection and removes any potential awkwardness or guilt. By staying calm and prioritizing shared pleasure, the experience becomes more natural and enjoyable, eliminating the need for drawn-out explanations. When an erection doesn't happen as expected, oral sex is a fantastic way to ensure pleasure remains front and center for both partners. By using your mouth, tongue, and lips, you can provide deep, intimate stimulation that leads to an incredibly satisfying experience. Start with soft, exploratory touches, paying special attention to the clitoris and vulva. Carefully observe your partner's reactions, whether it's a change in her position, a deep breath, or a new sound. These subtle cues guide you in refining your technique and keeping her fully engaged and pleasured. Variation is the secret to mastering oral sex. Avoid falling into a repetitive routine. Experiment with different movements using both your tongue and lips. Switch between gentle and firmer touches, alternating from circular to straight motions, all while paying close attention to her reactions. Her responses will guide you in discovering what brings her the most pleasure, ensuring an unforgettable and deeply satisfying experience for you both. In addition to focusing on the clitoris, there are many other sensitive areas around the vulva that are worth exploring. Gently tracing your tongue along the inner walls of the vagina can introduce an entirely different sensation that many women find incredibly arousing. If she's responding positively, continue this exploration, expanding your focus to include these often overlooked areas for even more pleasure. Oral sex is not just about technique, but also about communication, and it doesn't have to be verbal. Tuning into your partner's physical responses and adjusting your movements accordingly is a powerful form of nonverbal communication. If a particular touch makes her sigh or squirm with delight, stay in that rhythm. But if her reactions indicate discomfort or lack of interest, don't be afraid to change your approach. The ultimate goal is to create an intensely pleasurable and special experience for her, ensuring she feels fully satisfied and cherished. By staying attentive and adaptable, you can offer a profoundly fulfilling experience, even when an erection doesn't happen as expected. Exploring new forms of stimulation can heighten both the sexual and emotional connection between you and your partner, proving that physical intimacy is much more than one specific act. Don't be afraid to experiment with various types of touches using your tongue and lips. Play around with different pressures and rhythms, always responding to her feedback rather than sticking to one rigid technique. Discover how subtle changes, whether through soft, gentle caresses or firmer movements, can amplify pleasure based on her preferences. Your breathing can also enhance the experience. Try synchronizing your breath with your movements. Slow, deep breaths can create a more sensual and immersive feeling for both of you. This synergy between touch and breathing can intensify the entire experience, making it feel more connected and profound. To keep things exciting, combine different stimulation techniques. Use the tip of your tongue to trace delicate patterns around the clitoris and vulva, then switch to broader, more intense strokes. This variety not only keeps the moment fresh and engaging, but also heightens the intensity of pleasure, keeping your partner on the edge of bliss. By carefully observing her reactions and adjusting your technique as needed, you can fine-tune the experience to maximize her pleasure. This attentiveness transforms the moment into a shared journey of joy and intimacy, even when physical challenges arise. I hope today's tips on navigating erection difficulties and discovering new forms of pleasure have been helpful. Now I'd love to hear from you. Have you ever found yourself in a similar situation? How did you handle it? Share your stories or questions in the comments below, and let's continue this important conversation. If you found value in today's content, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel if you have not already. Your support helps us reach more people who can benefit from these insights. Thanks for joining us today.